Throughout the past couple of months, comments of Zoom fatigue have been mentioned in my client meetings, on social media, with my coworkers, and in casual conversation with family and friends. Even my Nana is using Zoom. At the DiJulius Group, we're no exception. I'm not immune to this new workday exhaustion. We are no longer just dialing into 1 or 2 virtual meetings daily. Now all of our meetings have transitioned to video calls. I used to get really excited about traveling, shopping, attending my workout classes. Now the most exciting part of my day is when I see a new Zoom update being installed on my computer. Our morning commute looks different than it ever did before. We have gained more time at home, and this may or may not be a good thing. However, we are still fighting that traffic and noise to get to the most productive version of ourselves as a result of transitioning to the work from home and virtual environment. We all have experienced at least one of the following symptoms in the last 6 months. Number 1, lack of collaboration. We are no longer having those daily Keurig convos, those conversations in the break room or around the water cooler. We have lost the ability to connect and have a conversation that leads us down to a path to a new brilliant idea. Number 2, lack of productivity. We have become distracted or bored working from home. Every meeting on the calendar has become another virtual meeting. We are just guilty of going through the motions. We've become Zoom zombies. Number 3, lack of attention. We aren't able to focus like we once were. We get distracted by social media, our home environment, the dog needs let out, an Amazon package arrived. You've become a full-time 4th grade teacher, and we aren't able to focus anymore. People can tell when you aren't engaged. Especially on Zoom, it's magnified. Pre-pandemic, the DiJulius Group logged 11,000 minutes in Zoom throughout the month of January. At our peak, our team members spent a combined 88,000 minutes in Zoom in the month of July. Our Zoom usage increased by 600% during COVID from January to July. This data includes internal and external meeting minutes. Internal talk time is just as important as client engagement. So how often have you connected with your people? And I don't mean meeting or task specific, but really connected offline to ask people and check in on their mental health. Have that personal conversation. What are some challenges or updates going on in your life? I encourage you to establish a routine to check in on your people and do this. I'm excited to share with you 4 ways to combat this virtual fatigue and become the most productive version of yourself. So number 1, avoid multitasking. Number 2, stay mobile. Number 3, reduce all other screen time. And number 4, utilize my Zoom best practices. I have personally implemented each one of these, and you can too. So number 1, avoid multitasking. Multitasking doesn't allow our brain to focus on just one thing. Thus, no one topic is getting our full attention that it deserves. As keynote speaker Neen James says in her book, Attention Pays, attention is not optional, it's vital. It is attention that drives the results we all want and need. And this is so true. We must be intentional with our attention. In today's world, we are constantly being pulled in multiple directions. We are always asked to do more in less time with less resources. Our response to this is aggressive multitasking, and who can blame us? We all do it. Respond to emails while on a phone call, texting while driving, or scrolling through social media while in the presence of others at a dinner or meeting. I'm guilty to all of the above. Avoid multitasking. People can tell when you aren't engaged. It may sound simple, but where is your camera located on your screen? Are you constantly looking at your second monitor, where who knows if you are in an email or maybe on Facebook or social media? Move your Zoom meeting to appear right below your camera so your coworker knows and can tell that you're engaged. Use your Do Not Disturb feature and make sure all other applications are closed, especially the ones that have those pop-up noisy notifications. Slack, email, text messages, shut those down. This will keep you solely focused on your meeting. Are you constantly looking at your second monitor, where who knows if you're on email or on Facebook? If you have multiple monitors, I recommend turning those off during your meetings. I'm guilty of this one as I have 2 monitors going usually, one for notes and one for my camera. I was recently called out by a coworker of mine for not paying attention during a meeting, when in reality, I was just taking notes on my other monitor. It looked like I wasn't paying attention, and it looked like I was multitasking, maybe even working on something else. So, if you want to take notes on your computer, take them on your monitor your camera is on so you're facing that camera. My word of the year is presence. I chose this word before I realized just how much the current circumstances would test me. So challenge yourself to avoid multitasking and be in the moment. The next time you're on a video chat, close all those tabs or programs that might distract you. Put your phone away and be present. Stay mobile. If you are the meeting organizer, understand that virtual is totally different than a physical meeting. In a physical meeting, when I conduct a consulting workshop, I can see my audience's body language and visual cues better than I can on a virtual screen. And I can see that most groups tend to need a break every 90 minutes. So to avoid Zoom fatigue, I recommend shorter breaks more often. I recommend at the top or bottom of the hour, and if it's a longer meeting, set the tone at the beginning of that meeting so that no one is wondering when their next break may be. Tell them it'll be at the top or bottom of the hour. Then they will be less likely to multitask during your meeting. Switch up your work from home spot. This one is my favorite. When we are in the office, we traditionally get away from our desk and move from meeting room to meeting room. I decided to mimic this routine at home. I move my laptop away from my desk and the charging outlet and stay at a new location until my computer battery is about to die. When I get that 5% battery remaining notification, I relocate back to my desk. I sincerely appreciate the change of scenery, and I love that it forces me to get up and move. There has been a noticeable difference in my posture and energy from sitting in new seating arrangements throughout the day. It also has me racing against my computer battery to complete the task before I move back to my desk or the next location. Several of my clients have even noticed that I was in a new location and even commented how the lighting looked different and how I looked better. Reduce all other screen time. I find myself working intermittently into the evening as an email or Slack message comes through, and I know you've all done this before. However, I have learned that shutting down and going offline will only help me be more productive the next day. Avoid screen time in the evening and after your business hours. There are truly only so many hours per day we can spend in front of a screen without extreme strain on your eyes. So limit your social media time. And if you haven't seen the Netflix documentary yet, Social Dilemma, that should be all the convincing that you need. So find a new hobby, one that takes you away from the screen. Use my Zoom best practices. Understand that everyone is swamped with virtual calls, so it's important that all meeting attendees know and understand your expectations. So I recommend transitioning to 45 to 50-minute meetings versus those full 1-hour sessions. If I schedule a 1-hour meeting, I almost always fill that entire hour, which isn't always a bad thing, but I have transitioned into 45 to 50-minute meetings when possible. And I have found that I can usually accomplish my set agenda within that time frame. So this gives me 10 to 15 minutes for a bio break to grab a snack, fill my water, prepare for my next call, or even get outside for some fresh air. During those 15 minutes, get out of your chair. Get away from your screen. Seriously. Don't take your phone with you when you walk away, and don't browse on social media. I have found that this has helped me truly recharge and be ready to be fully present again during my next call or task. Of course, there are times we need to follow an agenda and complete those action items. However, make sure you have time for those fun shout-outs, praising your coworkers, and even icebreakers to shake it up with your team. Here are some key virtual always and never takeaways that you can share with your team. Always be present, never multitask. Always take your meeting notes on your primary monitor. Never have any other apps open. Always have your video camera at eye level, and never have that main source of lighting be coming from behind you. It will drown you out. Always mute yourself when you aren't talking, and never have distracting background or background noise during your meetings. To go into more detail on tips and tricks, including engaging icebreaker ideas, utilizing breakout rooms, chat features and polls, how to be a better meeting host, and provide an overall better virtual experience, please join me for my complimentary webinar, How to Overcome Virtual Fatigue. Check out the app for more details and the registration link. I'll see you then.